How you doing? Just give you a quick run through in your new van how everything works. Now when you come in the door, just over the habitation door is the main control panel. This button here is the main on off switch. See, that's powered everything up. Down the left hand side here we've separate wee isolation switches, I suppose. Top one here is for your water pump, so you could leave that on all the time. Pump's automatic. This is for a lot of lights, main switch for lights. This one here is this entrance light, and you can shut down. You can see this one here kind of controls that bunch of lights there. If we push this arrow here, it'll bring us into our levels. Now first time we push that, we can see it's showing us the water tank. Fresh tank's half full, waste tank's empty. Push it again, it brings us into our batteries. You can see our leisure battery is 11.7 and our starting battery is 12.3. So that's most of the basics of your control panel. We TV just inside the door. In the wardrobe is your aerial. You have an adjustable aerial, so we can loosen this screw here and the aerial will raise up and down and it'll turn. If you find your signal's not great, you could lift the aerial and turn it, adjust it. See, does it improve your signal? To work your TV, main power switch on the top left switches it on, and just give it a second. Right, that's it there. Now when you go around, you'll probably have to retune it. You've the menu button here on the left hand side, third button down. Push that, brings up this screen here. We just push the down arrow and select OK. I'd normally always change this. I just push the right hand arrow to DTV, down button for Ireland or wherever you are, and just push OK. And that'll tune in stations for you there now. Just turn that off. Now your fridge, inside the door is your fridge. This little square button here is the main on off switch. So if we hold that in for a second, powers up the fridge. And we can see here this round button on the left hand side. It'll select what power source we're using. So it's on 12 volt there at the minute. It's showing a picture of the battery. We can use gas, or we can use mains power if we're plugged in. If I push it again, it'll bring up auto. This fridge will automatically select. When I selected auto, it automatically went for gas because we're not plugged in, no mains power. If we start the engine, it'll automatically change to 12 volts, so the auto's the handiest one to use. And this button on the right hand side here is your temperature control. Every time you push it, it brings it up one, up to the 5 bars. Push it again, it brings it all the way back. So I'll leave that turned up for you. And just hold in this wee button here to switch it off. Hold in for a couple of seconds. A wee lock here on the top of the door. Just into your fridge. Your cooker is your standard gas cooker. You have an igniter button here, a sparker button. So if we turn on one of the cooker rings here, turn on the gas, hold in the button, push the wee sparker, it'll light up. Keep it held for a couple of seconds, release, and you can go down full flame and straight up for off. Your bathroom in here now is standing off the wee light switch just inside the door, and your toilet, you have the swivel seat toilet. Just lift that up, the wee blue button here for the flush, and just on the front of it here, this wee lever opens and closes the cassette door. That's your toilet. Now, at the seating area behind the driver are your controls for your heating. We can see someone has these wee labels here, they're handy. With two controls. We'll start with the one on the left here, is what you're actually doing. We can see it here. So in the center position here, this grey outer ring is off. If we turn it up to the first one, 40 degrees is heating the water, and turn up the top one, 60 degrees is water heating, a higher temperature. We can see that up here. 60 degrees normally only for showers. With normal use you'd only use the 40 degrees. So that's your water heating. A couple of lights. Green light's telling us it's on. The little orange light on the left is telling us it's on water heating. And when it comes up to temperature, the little orange light will go out. So we come back to the centre here, is power off. Wee green light just flashes on to cool down. And the first one down is heating the van, your blown air heating. And we can turn this centre dial to 1 to 5 here for your temperature inside in the van. And the bottom one then is heats the van and the water at the same time. So I'll just put that back in the off position. Now this knob on the right hand side is your power source, your gas or electric. We can see here. So in the centre position is gas only, just working off your gas supply. And if we turn it up the first one, it's electric heating at 900 watt, low power electric. And turn it up the top one is electric 1800 watt. It's a higher power electric. So that only works if you're plugged in campsites or plugged in at the house, your mains power. Back down to gas. First one down from the centre is gas and electric at 900 watt electric. And the bottom one is gas and 1800 watt electric if you want big power. We'd recommend use the heater on gas if it's cold or if you need water heated up fairly quick. If you're using electric, it's an awful lot slower. As you can see, it's only 1800 watt and full power. So that's a quick guide to your heating. Now I just had these cushions off to show you underneath here. That's your heater itself. And to drain the heater, we've this little valve here with the yellow lever. If we lift that yellow lever pointing straight up, it'll drain all the water out of the heater itself for protection in the winter. So what you do there, normally you turn off the water pump, make sure your water pump's turned off up at the control panel over the door, and lift up that little yellow lever. It'll empty out. There's your water pump there. Now just beside us here, underneath the floor, we took out those two hatches, is the water tank. It fills from outside, so this is only for emptying it. You've that red bung in the bottom of it. If you reach in and just pull up that bung, it'll drain out the water tank if you want it drained out. And with the lid of the tank, just an ordinary screw on lid on the tank. So that's underneath the floor between the seats at the front. Your leisure battery is under the floor, that behind the driver's seat, under that black cover there, and you can see a main fuse for it there. That's where your leisure battery is. Now, to make up this bed, normally we'd lift up this cover and it slides out towards us, and we've this little bar here, drops down just to support it on the floor, and the cushions pull in from either side. I'll make it up now, I'll show it to you made up. Now there's your bed made up inside the van. We can see these slid out with the two legs supporting it underneath. Now inside in your wardrobe, just underneath this first shelf, are your trip switches and main power switches for various, the charger and the fridge and the heating, the electric end of it, mains power end of things. And beside it here we have our fuses. They're all labelled what each of them are. They'll be all your 12 volt fuses for everything in the back. We'll run outside now, do a run around outside. Just outside the van, in front of the habitation door, we have our gas box. Just turn up and down the valve on the top of the bottle to open and close it. Turn it anti-clockwise to open it, clockwise to close it. There's a spanner there for changing the bottle, space for a second bottle. In front of that, just a storage unit is underneath the seat behind the seat behind the passenger. Spare wheel, your awning handle, all that kind of stuff's in there. Diesel cap is just behind the passenger door. To open the bonnet, we open the passenger door, just here on the side of the dash, pull that lever for the bonnet. Now under the bonnet here, on the driver's side beside the headlight, and in the back you've your screen wash, you've your coolant here, the red coolant bottle, power steering fluid, brake fluid. Just down the front here, in the middle, is the dipstick, the yellow dipstick for your oil, and your oil filler is there marked. If ever you have to jump start this fan, the battery's underneath the floor at the passenger's feet, but beside the headlight here on the passenger side, lift up that wee cover and we've a positive jumping point for your red jump lead, your positive jump lead, and just out right beside the headlight, this little knob here would be your earth for clamping your earth lead onto. That's all out the front. Now, just behind the driver's door, you have your water filler for filling your fresh water tank. That's just the exhaust for your heater behind this, and just over the back wheel is your mains plug-in point, plugging in your mains power lead. Now behind the rear wheel is your drain valve, your grey water drain, as your sinks and shower, that kind of stuff. And at the very back of the van we have the toilet cassette. To empty it, just lift up that yellow lever, it'll slide out. Just lift it out the ground here. If we turn out this neck, this lid will screw off, and that's a wee measuring cup for your chemical, for if you're using a liquid chemical. Suppose you empty it, screw off that lid and pour it down any suitable place for the chemical waste. You have a little yellow button on the back here. If you hold that down as you're emptying it, it enables it to pour out easier, and just sits back into place. Just sit it in there, just push it in, it locks in. Just push in the wee neck and close the door. Bike rack on the back here. You just pull down that rail, and you can set your bikes up, and you have your top rails for your crossbars, and that's it.